Let's go. I cannot sit here and look at you in the face and say that it's official because it's not, especially when it's dealing with Lane Kiffin. But if it turns out that Lane Kiffin is staying at Ole Miss, it would be one of the more shocking decisions. All right. For so long, it's been if Lane actually goes to LSU, that would be the shocking thing. It has now gotten to the point where Ross Dellenger, the prominent LSU national insider, this guy used to work at the Baton Rouge Advocate. He also now is a national reporter. I also know Ross Dellenger. Um, he is reporting that the planes are being sent to go pick Lane Kiffin up in the morning. So this is what I could tell you. All right. Because there is an update. There was someone that refuted this report from Ross Dellenger. We'll get to that in just a second. So LSU executives and Lane Kiffin's reps held a call after the Tigers game at OU to continue solidifying the deal with travel plans. The university is sending 2 planes to Oxford on Sunday for Kiffin, his family, and other sources tell Yahoo Sports. Okay? So this is what I'll tell you. There was also a meeting that happened. And of course, Lane Kiffin and Keith Carter are probably figuring out what they were going to do about the Iron Bowl. If the Iron Bowl obviously had Alabama lose to Auburn, it would have been Ole Miss coaching in the SEC championship game. We continue with this report. As we have said now for a week, LSU officials believe they hold Lane Kiffin's commitment to be their next head coach through his desire to continue coaching Ole Miss in the postseason. Okay, is a snag delaying the formalization of the move. Okay, the meeting, dark SUV, and all of that. I think a lot of you have seen this photo by now. And then when Ross started leaking out some other names, that's when it started to get real here. Ole Miss is engaging with new candidates, John Summerall and Alex Golish. I'm hearing that Ole Miss really wants John Summerall, who used to coach at Ole Miss. Okay. Now you have John Summerall, who's also involved with Florida. And that's something else that will potentially help LSU get this thing going because Ole Miss wants to get Summerall before Summerall goes to Florida. And there's been a lot of Florida steam with Summerall. So now we continue here with Dellenger's report here. The accelerated cycle coupled with Kiffin's delay puts the Rebels in a difficult position as so many coaches have re-signed or in negotiations with others. So Eli Drakowitz off the board, Clark Lee off the board, so on and so on and so on. If Golish goes elsewhere, Auburn or Ole Miss, Arkansas is expected. We don't care about Arkansas at this point. Okay. So before I get to Ross's full report, all right, Marty Smith was at and I was listening to this in the SEC network. Okay. I was listening to the SEC network report. And Marty Smith said he spoke to Lane Kiffin. He sent him a text and asked Lane about the planes. And per Marty Smith, he said Lane told him no. Okay. I could just be hearing things. I'm not able to rewind on my ESPN app for whatever reason. Also saw someone else tweet this out. Maybe I'm just missing something. It's been a long day. I've been up all day doing film studies, obviously the Oklahoma game and all of that. Based on my understanding, I made a phone call after that and was told that the planes are going. Okay. So why would Marty Smith report that? Well, Lane's probably in a tough spot right now because he probably wants to address his team. So I don't know. But that was pretty crazy. I was getting ready to go live like 30 minutes ago or whenever I heard Marty Smith say that. I tweeted it out, made some calls, and finally got someone on the phone, and they said that the planes are en route. Okay? So it is crazy. It is absolutely crazy that we are in this spot. Now, what do we know? Do we know a gazillion percent Lane Kiffin is coming? We don't. But this is the closest it has been. This is finally an instance where we have real motion. This man, the offensive mastermind of the Southeastern Conference, who took a team to the college football playoff that had no business being in the college football playoff, a team that lost their best defensive tackle, lost their best defensive ends, lost their best off-ball linebacker, lost their best safety, lost their best corner, lost their best quarterback, lost their best offensive lineman, lost their best wide receiver. And guess what they did? Ole Miss led this team to the college football playoff in only a one-loss situation. This man is going to transform LSU Tigers football. You heard it here first, baby. The Lane train. It's not official. Let's not get ready to go to, I guess you could say, the moon. You want to stay grounded, but your boy's about to get excited. Now, we get into the big question. Why is this taking so long? Well, there is a power struggle between two men that I've been told by multiple Ole Miss sources like each other. Keith Carter and Lane Kiffin both like each other. This is a very difficult situation for them both. Keith, I believe, this is not reported. This is what I believe Keith Carter wants to do. He wants to let Lane Kiffin coach the playoff. That is just my feeling. Because if he really didn't want Lane Kiffin to coach the playoff, he would have already told him to pack his bags by now. They're friends. Lane's given them 6 good years. 6. They're friends. Keith knows that this team could actually do something, but they need this man in order to do that very thing. I think Keith wants him to coach in the playoff. I do. From my understanding, though, this Ole Miss locker room is about 60-40 wanting him out, not wanting him to be able to coach the playoff. Lane wants to coach the playoff. And I think as LSU fans, we want him to coach the playoff. And I'm going to give you the main reason why we want him coaching the playoff. I understand. We need to get ready for the next recruiting class. We need to get ready for the next thing for 2026 and the LSU Tiger football program. The one thing I believe that helps Lane Kiffin and LSU the most by him coaching the college football playoff is a thing called peace of mind. Because one thing we don't do a good enough job as college football media and college football fans, we do not acknowledge hindsight. You got to remember, when you go to the NFL, you really don't have options. You get drafted to a team, can't really do anything about it. So when you're young and in the NFL, you got to make it work with where you are. Same thing in high school. College, you have an endless amount of options. And in this interesting scenario, Lane Kiffin had options. He also suffers with something that I suffer with, which is crippling indecisiveness, as we have seen over the past couple of weeks. We want Lane to have a clear peace of mind, to have known that he got to finish what he started, this very special Ole Miss team that had the best season in school history. So I want him to coach the playoffs so he's not looking in the rearview mirror. But Carter, what about the recruiting class for next season? Most of our best high school kids are already signed. Okay? So whatever the case may be, you should celebrate Lane Kiffin. I would put it at 90% chance he is going to LSU. Now, it could change. It could change. Remember what my gut has told you the entire time. And it looks like I'm going to be wrong. My gut has not really changed until he signs the dotted line. I've kept telling you. I've been doing this a long time. He's staying at Ole Miss. But the real insiders, the real people I trust, okay? So national reporters like Ross Dellenger, I believe he's right about the Plains story, by the way. Actually, I know he's right. The Plains, all of that. Chris Lowe has heavily pushed Lane Kiffin to LSU. You have heard College Game Day. These are guys that actually do talk to Lane to LSU. Just by hearing how Game Day was talking about it this morning. Now, they didn't know Lane Kiffin's final decision. No one knows that. But what did Lane Kiffin say yesterday after the Egg Bowl? They asked him, hey, who have you been leaning on for advice? Lane Kiffin said Pete Carroll and Nick Saban. Okay? We heard from Nick this morning. Y'all, this is probably going to happen, and you should be happy about it. Now, before I start answering any comments, let me also say this. There are going to be so many of you that are going to wonder what is going to happen if Lane Kiffin leaves us a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. You know what I have to say to that? So what? So the F what? Do you think when Ole Miss signed him that they were going to get 6? Do you really think that? Do you think they really thought what they got out of him is what they got out of him? Do they really think in their wildest dreams that their program would ever be as successful, especially if you would have told them 6 years ago, hey, 2 nationally prominent programs are going to join the conference, and those 2 seasons, you're going to have your best seasons. Your 2 best seasons are going to be the seasons that Vanderbilt is taking off your permanent schedule. You don't know. You don't know how Lane Kiffin is going to operate or how long he's going to be at any spot. You don't know. What you do know, though, is that you got the best coach available. The best coach in the sport is Kirby Smart. The second is probably Lane Kiffin. But he's not won a playoff game. Don't care. What he's done at Ole Miss, he's the second best coach in the sport. You don't know. What if he's here 3 years? Well, if he's here 3 years and he decides to leave, that means he's probably doing good. Okay? Let's go to Doug Nose. Congrats to OU, but if that's a CFP, no need to expand further. This crappy LSU team with an interim and no offense could have, should have beat them. Yeah, I've talked plenty about the OU game. I don't think anybody wants to talk about that. Can we start getting excited now? It says golf and gambling. Yeah, you should start getting a little excited. All right. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, hey, this is a gazillion % locked in. Okay. That is, and I understand that's what you want to hear. I'm not going to lie to you. But the Ross Dellenger report is the biggest. And I know what Marty Smith said. I'm telling you right now, I have been told by somebody that would know this that that's probably not true. Okay? So what's next? What is Lane Kiffin's staff going to look like? Does he keep Blake Baker? All of those things, to me, are irrelevant at this point. 2 things you should be happy about today. Number 1, you should be proud as hell that LSU played the way that they played. You should be proud as hell about Michael Van Buren finding a way to play better than he did in the first half. I know it wasn't a great game, but this guy burned a year of eligibility to make it work for us today. You should be proud as hell that A.J. Halsey, Mansour Delane, Jack Pyburn, and all these one-year transfer rentals, the season didn't work out for them, but all 3 of them played their asses off. Patrick Payton had his best game of the season, played his ass off. Jamari Butler has had 2 consecutive great games. You should be happy with what happened versus Oklahoma. But Carter, there's no such thing as a moral victory. Most of you didn't even care we played a game today. I am proud as hell of that team. Proud as hell. Okay? And I will always be proud as hell of this team. Always. Okay? Surely if LSU sends planes to pick up coach's family and the coach declines, surely that's the most embarrassing thing ever to happen. Okay? So, once again, he is reporting that this is going to happen tomorrow. Now we get to the full Dellenger report. Once again, I know Delly not well. We have sat in many press boxes together. We'll go through his full report. Holding a $90+ million offer from LSU, Kiffin and Ole Miss administrators were expected to discuss at the meeting his future, specifically his intention to continue to lead the number 7 Rebels in the college football playoff, despite on Friday not agreeing to an extension with the school. The meeting among Kiffin, Ole Miss director Keith Carter, and Chancellor Glenn Boyce lasted more than 3 hours if it started at the scheduled time of 3 p.m. Central. They left about 6:45 p.m. Saturday. LSU officials believe they hold Kiffin's commitment to be their coach, though his desire to continue coaching Ole Miss in the postseason is a snag delaying in the formalization of the move. Okay. In fact, LSU high-level administrators and Kiffin's representatives held a call after the Tigers game in Oklahoma to continue solidifying the deal with travel plans. Okay. The university plans to send 2 planes to Oxford on Sunday to pick up Kiffin, his family, and others. Those with knowledge of the situation told Yahoo Sports. Okay. The school's courtship of Kiffin took a serious turn 8 days ago when Yahoo Sports reported the offer, okay, which we talked about in a 5-hour stream. LSU executives remain confident Saturday, as they have now for a week, and expect the Ole Miss coach to move to Baton Rouge in an interconference poaching of their SEC's biggest rivals. And we play Ole Miss every season in the current 9-game conference schedule, or the new 9-game conference schedule format. Okay. If he doesn't come, we've been duped, says one source with knowledge of Kiffin and LSU's negotiations. However, doubt lingers as Kiffin, despite his commitment to LSU officials, has publicly expressed indecision, but also has not signed a lucrative contract extension with Ole Miss. Carter has already begun his next step. Golish is out there. Summerall's out there. DJ Durkin in Auburn. The accelerated coaching cycle, coupled with Kiffin's delay in announcement, puts the Rebels in a difficult position as so many coaches have resigned with their schools or in negotiations with others. Auburn remains in a similar position after Summerall's interests shifted to Gainesville. God, I will tell you this. Ole Miss fans are going to be sick if Summerall picks Florida and wins big at Florida. Meanwhile, in Oxford, on a cold, dark, rainy night, university executives gathered with their coach at the Carrier House, the chancellor's home that sits a few steps from one of the main entrances to campus, tucked off Fraternity Row. I've actually driven by there a few times. The meeting drew attention in a small college town such as this. A woman emerged. I saw this photo, hanging out to snap a shot of the vehicles out front. Okay. At the center of this meeting was Kiffin was expected to be Kiffin's desire to continue coaching at Ole Miss in the playoffs. Okay. Some of ESPN's most prominent voices, like Kirk Herbstreit and Nick Saban, advocated for the school to permit him to coach in the postseason. If you're in charge at Ole Miss and Lane decides to go elsewhere, you need to set your emotions aside, said Kirk Herbstreit. You need to look at 2025 in this team with their coach and give him a chance to finish his run. Herbstreit also added that Ole Miss has to accept that Kiffin will likely leave for Baton Rouge. Saban said it would be crazy to stop Kiffin from coaching, at the very least, in the SEC championship game. Okay. Tiggs Bits says, I'm worried about us as a brand if this doesn't land. Yeah, I don't think you should be worried. I don't think you should be worried about us as a brand if we don't close this deal. Because think about it this way. If Kiffin does decide, hey, I'm sick to my stomach, I'm going to coach my team in the playoff, and he stay with Ole Miss, 2 things are true. Okay. The first is you never would have wanted him to be the coach if he backs out now. Okay. Now, I will also say this. 2 boosters. One who I have not spoken to, but I know another national insider has spoken to today, and he's not really a national reporter. He's just a national personality. He spoke to one booster, and Ole Miss's most prominent booster is already tweeting that it's over. All right. So I won't say the name of the national reporter, but he speaks to a booster and he texted me, Carter. He told me that he thinks it's done. Then I will also share this. This was kind of a random retweet I shared on my feed. Let me go to here. This is Tyler Jordan. All right. And once again, he is just responding to this report, but Tyler would know. Okay. So this is the real tree guy. Okay. The helmets that Ole Miss had on this weekend were real tree designed helmets. Okay. Let's focus on promoting the special group of guys before we make a playoff run, since the attention hasn't been on them for weeks now. This guy would know stuff. All right. If this guy had his logos basically on the helmet, he's not going to be tweeting something like this out. Okay. Now, I'll share with you a few other things. Just based on my knowledge of how this last week went, I can truly tell you that the Kiffin family really enjoyed their trip to Baton Rouge. All right. So most people think it was Landry who would really be pushing Lane to Baton Rouge because of a love interest. Okay. Her significant other, or the one she is dating right now, Whit Weeks, lives in Baton Rouge, obviously. But I am told it was Layla who really enjoyed Baton Rouge. Okay. So I was kind of interested by that aspect of it. I could be totally wrong on that. But because of her ties to the Florida Gators, she went to Florida. Her dad played for Florida. She was in a sorority at Florida. But she likes Baton Rouge. Something about it. I've shared the story of my wife. She loves Baton Rouge. She's an Arkansas Razorback. She's only visited Baton Rouge 3 or 4 times. She loves it. You got Trader Joe's, you got a Sprouts right down the road from one another. Got a Lululemon right there. You sure LSU isn't Oxford and then some? Let's go to Thibodeau. The Eric Andre Jaden Daniels crossover. It's nearly midnight. There's no way we get an answer tonight on this. Once again, Thibodeau, you won't get an answer until Lane is at the press conference. I mean, you don't know with this guy. You really, really, really don't. Okay? Okay. Okay. Oh, TJ, don't go to bed yet. I'm about to text you. Okay. My phone's in my pocket. That probably shouldn't be where it is. Branson Cat, thank you. Ephesial, thanks you. So I've been missing the Venmos here. Team meeting at 9 a.m. Credit to Donovan. Good night, all. TJ, text me real quick. Okay. So Marty Smith, and I saw this for myself, just tweeted out that Ole Miss says Lane Kiffin to make a 9 a.m. announcement. That's not true. This is the actual report. Okay. Report. Ole Miss sources tell me Lane Kiffin will hold a 9 a.m. team meeting Sunday morning and have an announcement regarding his future afterwards. I'm a Marty Smith fan. I'm going to show him some love. Okay. Neil McCready also reporting Ole Miss team meeting tomorrow. All right. So here's the question. TG, thank you for the constant streaming. Why the delay? I thought the announcement was supposed to be tonight. Not how this works, Bucko. Not how this works. Not an unprecedented situation like this. Okay. But I do appreciate the constant streaming. It's been an exhausting journey, but I wouldn't want anything else. All right. So let's go to Van. Is it happening? It's happening. Okay. I will say this though. This has already been the craziest coaching search in the history of college football. It's already been the craziest. The wildest thing about this is the Jeff Landry stuff. I said at the time it was going to blow over. All right. That is just such in the rear view now that we are in the spot that we are now. I, from this point forward, will never go with my gut. If all of my sources are telling me that it's LSU, okay? And if the national guy sources are saying it's LSU, and they had been basically, in particular in the last 5 or so days, I'm going to listen, okay? But I still, dude, it's you just don't know. And I think part of why my gut has been telling me not to is because I am such a huge fan of Lane, and my reputation is going to be on this guy's shoulders, basically, because I truly do believe he is a special head coach. I truly do believe it. Okay, so it's happening. I think it's happening at this point. All right. So congratulations, y'all. A cautious congratulations. We in this bitch. Ole Miss, you're our little brother. You've won 2 out of the last 4, but you're going to win 0 out of the next infinity. You've talked reckless about this man, the man that actually made you relevant. And let me be honest. As someone who does stream and has streamed a lot, I have said some reckless shit myself. And I'm not happy about it. All right. I've had many sleepless nights. It's been tough. Okay. This has been stressful. I've gained a lot of gray hair. But here's the truth, y'all. Here's the mother effing truth. Even though I've called out Ole Miss fans for speaking ill towards Lane Kiffin, I think they're crazy to not let this guy coach the playoff or not want him to coach the playoff. I really do think so. But I defend Ole Miss fans because you are getting little brothered really bad by someone that's not even your rival, but you play a rivalry game against. And you've had this magical season. This is the one time you're really getting to make the playoff. And you probably should have made the playoff last season. I sympathize with you Ole Miss fans. I do. But you'll always have Marshall Henderson. You will always have Eli Manning. It's going to get nasty, y'all. It's going to get nasty. Okay, but once again, thanks to Van. Thanks to TG0186. We highly recommend you join the membership. All that good stuff. And I feel like I really do. I'm really on cloud 9 right now. I really do feel like I can live stream until 9 in the morning. I'm really going to try and talk myself into it. Okay. Now, it is funny TMB brings this up. Bama is our daddy for now. But Ole Miss is now the little brother we pick on. Well, Alabama made this decision easier for us. And it's ironic that it happened the way that it did. And I tweeted this out at the time, and you can see it for yourself on Power Hour LSU. This is the biggest thing that you should take away from that Alabama-Auburn game. It's not just that Alabama played Auburn. They made a rash decision to go for it on 4th and 2. 20-20 was the score. Field goal gives you the lead with 4 minutes left to go. And actually less than that. And Alabama decided to go for it. I will tell you this. This man right here and this man right here would be going for it as well. All right. Ole Miss routinely is amongst the most aggressive 4th down decision makers in all of college football. We are going to go for it. Okay. I want a coach that underneath his pants has big coconuts when it comes down to 4th down. Some bowling balls down there. I want the South Park meme of Stan and the wheelbarrow. That is what I want. And that is what you're going to get. When Kalen DeBoer did that, I was like, you mother effer. You got it in you, bro. Oh, okay. Good old-fashioned homophobia. From 4547-OK. Just got back from the OU LSU game. You fans are GAY, and the LSU band is GAY. So I don't know why you would just single out the LSU band, though. You won the game, and you're seeking out an LSU fan. Oh, man. No, how about I block you? 45-47, okay. Y'all are so arrogant. Like, just listen to yourself talk. Y'all will be wanting to fire him once he doesn't get you a natty in 4 years. Okay. Lane knows what he's signing up for. I'm not going to want him fired in 4 years if he doesn't win a natty. The problem is you will get fired at LSU if you don't make the college football playoff in the first 4 seasons. I will also say that one thing Verge said is LSU needs to be in the college football playoff every single season. All right. Now let's talk about Verge Osbury. Okay. Let's talk about Verge. Tip of the hat to you, brother. Tip of the mother effing hat. I've had the good fortune to interview Verge many moons ago. Now, is it true that there are serious off-the-field things that have happened with Verge in yesteryear that deserve discussion? Sure. All right. And I will always say that when I compliment him. I will. But he was given the title of LSU Athletic Director. He has served for the LSU Tigers for 20 plus years. For him to pull this off, for the LSU Board of Governors to pull this off, is nothing short of incredible. You have got to give that man credit. And once again, we could just be getting okey-doked here. But what happened in this search? Well, let's go back to a Power Hour LSU stream from many years ago, it seems, where Cooper Patagna joined us, and I asked him straight up, who is going to be the next head coach for the LSU Tigers? And he said it's going to be Lane Kiffin. 6 out of 10 confidence. Cooper, the next day, was welcomed with Jeff Landry doing what he did. That was when the Jeff Landry stuff happened. Okay. So Jeff Landry did what he did. And we then had the situation with the president, President Roos. And then we had Verge. Was he the AD or was he not? And what happened in the search? We went big game hunting. And we said, look, we just paid out this ridiculous buyout. We're paying Brian Kelly the full $54 million. And what did we do? We got the big money back out there to say, hey, we need another check. And we not only need a check for the coach, we need a check for the roster. Okay. So we don't know. We don't know. Okay. We don't know what time the plane lands. Let's see here. PHL Discord, posting some news. Don't forget to sign up, patreon.com/LSU football. Okay. Okay. Let's go to Pete Natcoats. It's midnight tonight, and there's no final decision yet from Lane Kiffin, despite growing confidence from LSU. Sources have told On 3 Sports that the meeting this afternoon with Keith Carter and Ole Miss centered around coaching in the CFP. Tulane has extended a multi-year offer to John Summerall, averaging more than $4 million a year. That would make him the second highest paid A4 coach in the country. Okay. So let's. All right, hold on. All right, so they're going to play the Dari Noka clip again. So Big Dex. Let's go to KC Basketball Shots. Welcome to the channel. I'm a Baton Rouge native, and I never realized LSU had that kind of money to spend, but I'm glad for it. I'd be willing to pay a 1% tax and everything so going directly to Saban or Kiffin's pocket. Huh? Sam, I never knew we had that type of money. All right. All right. Let's discuss the money thing. Okay. So there is no cap on how much you could pay coaches. There is none. You could pay Nick Saban $50 million a year to coach. at LSU if you wanted to. Okay. You could do it. And the truth is, no one can stop you. Now, there are billionaires that support college football. They're billionaires. So that money is truly infinite when it comes to coaches, because coaches are what truly moves the needles. All right. Now, obviously, how much your roster is getting paid is what truly moves the needle now. But your coach is constant. He's the same guy every year. Or you're paying the same guy every year. You don't know if a coach is going to fall off or not. We've seen quite a few do that at LSU, unfortunately, in recent years. So if you have billionaire supporters, which LSU does, there is a big one who stays in the shadows. That's a Silicon Valley guy. I think roughly 5 to 10 years older than me. And he's a billionaire. Okay. And think about if you're a billionaire, a lot of the money that billionaires have are tied up into stocks. So they're not actually like, it's not actual like liquid cash, but still $1 million is not really anything. Okay. So if you are a true billionaire and you have all this money, what really is $50 million to them? And they'll probably get a suite, some extra access, yay or nay. And yeah, that money could come out of anywhere. You just got to convince them to spend it, right? This is a big thing that's going on right now privately in the state of Arkansas, because Arkansas has a lot of billionaires, a lot. Now, the problem is they don't have as many of those $20 to $40 million millionaires. So they don't have as many of those guys in that middle tier, if you will, but they have 4 to 5 upper tier guys that are in the billions. Okay. And they don't spend. Some of them spend, but some of them don't. And the biggest is Walmart. They spend some, but they don't do what Texas Tech does. Okay. So you can find the money. You just got to find somebody willing to do it. Okay. Which is why private equity has kind of sort of swept into the sport. Okay. So Gordon, the lawyer, is heavy into funding. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Gordon has a lot of money. A lot. He's probably worth, I don't know. I really don't know what his stock options are or anything like that. But he's worth a lot of money. He does a lot of NIL stuff. But there's a difference between him and true billionaires. And he could be a billionaire. I don't know. I don't know. How close is Lane and Coach O? Pretty close. I don't think they're like the thickest of thieves, if you will. But I think close enough where Lane's going to want him back. But I don't know. Thoughts on backlash Lane Kiffin's been receiving? Okay. I'm glad you asked this, BZ, because I am Onk. To you call me Onk. Okay. I just got confirmation from someone that knows from the billionaire. And I don't like saying his name because he likes to stay in the shadows. But I was told by someone who does know this person, he's 51 years old. I said a minute ago, he's like 5 or 10 years older than me. So not significantly older than me, but he's older than me. Okay. So Jay Tiger says Lane and Coach O talk often, supposedly. All right. Van wants to know, why did I ban music? It's funny. I saw him in another chat. I think it was for like the main, I think it was for like a Frank Wilson press conference. and he confronted me in that chat, and I tensed up. I didn't say anything. Huh? Huh? Oh, no, I didn't tense up. I didn't say anything to him. I saw him in there, and I commented. And I think Music commented back, and I unblocked him. He is unblocked. He just doesn't ever want to come back because he don't want to see these hands. Free Music. Okay. Juice Kiffin's water bowl. Dude, Marty Smith just said LSU sending planes isn't true. All right. So Juice Kiffin's water bowl. I'm going to instruct you on something here. I know you're in free fall because your coach is gone. Okay. I was one of the first LSU. I'm not going to say I'm a reporter. I tweeted that out. I heard Marty Smith say it. All right. I even tweeted it out from my account. But guess what? I made a few phone calls. I've been told that the planes are scheduled. Okay. Could be wrong. I've gotten things wrong. I've said some things I've regretted. So Van wants me to go unban Music right now. It is amazing how much you think about this guy or girl, whatever this person is. Huh? 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 Use tomorrow's podcast as the title. Okay. But yes. Now, here are things you should buy stock in. All right. You should buy stock in the yoga pants. All right. You should buy heavy stock into yoga pants. You should buy heavy stock into the yoga studios. All right. Now, this is a message to everyone in Baton Rouge. One thing we are not going to call Lane is a gardening utensil. We're not going to do that. Okay. Not going to do that. And I'll leave it at that. It's kind of past its point. But there you go. Let me see. God, dude. These Ole Miss reporters are going through it, dude. And I get it. Once again, I'm not in their shoes. Now Van's got everybody wondering what happened to music. The funny thing is, music just did not like me, even when he did comment. He just didn't. He hate watch me, and I don't even remember what exactly pushed me over the edge. Van just likes to see me pissed off. Oh boy, Jay Addison, who's actually in Norman, who reported. So we have a lot of stuff that gets posted in the Discord. Okay. Jared reported that Norman, Oklahoma has 30 packs of Miller Lite for $25. How about that? Okay. Now, we then get into what's next for LSU. All right. So Lane Kiffin gets here, and what's next? Well, the big decision is who's staying and who's going on as far as the staff is concerned. The thing that's going to be difficult as far as this is concerned is the Ole Miss staffers are going to want to coach in the playoff too, unless you give them a fat raise to come to LSU. So Charlie Weiss Jr. has been a really good offensive coordinator for the Ole Miss Rebels. He is the highest paid offensive coordinator. So if Lane wants Charlie and Charlie wants to come to BR, that is someone that you want to be here. You want Charlie Weiss to be here at Lane. You want that entire offensive operation here. So every single offensive coach that is on Ole Miss's staff, you want them here. Now, the only one that is truly up for grabs is Frank Wilson. All right. He's the interim coach. He is the best recruiter to ever step foot at LSU. He is probably the most popular coach at LSU right now. And he is the most popular coach at LSU with the previous teams. It's either him or Corey when it comes to that. So does Lane retain him as running backs coach? I don't know. But obviously all the other offensive coaches we're going to want. And they would all be upgrades over what we have. Then we get to the defensive side of the football. Pete Golding is from Louisiana. Does Pete Golding want to go to BR? I don't know. My understanding a few weeks ago is that he wants to stay at Ole Miss and see if he can actually get the job himself. I don't think that's the direction Ole Miss wants to go. So would I want Pete Golding over Blake Baker? That's tough. So I was a big Blake Baker guy when he was hired, and he's obviously been a huge upgrade over Matt House. Our defense wasn't great last year. That was also our least talented defense. Okay? Look at this year's defense. This defense has been very good. It's been very good. But I will say it's been sloppy. If you really want to get down into the nitty-gritty about the LSU defense, it has been sloppy too many times. No better example than today. Now, if you were to put blame on which side of the football cost us this game today, it's not even close. Okay? It is the offense cost us the game today. But we knew going into this game, we were going to need to win a 16-13 style of game for us to even have a chance to win this game. And you're telling me that we give up a walk-in 60-yard bomb versus an offense who's struggling? And that bomb was to by far their best receiver? And a quarterback who couldn't hit a broadside of the barn? There's just been a lot of these. A lot of walk-in touchdowns that are untouched. No one's even close to the guy catching the football. That's a problem. Do I think Blake Baker's been good enough if Lane wants to bring him back? Sure. I would love Blake Baker to be back. Okay. But, it's also not one of those things where you say, well, it's like the end of the world that we do not retain Blake Baker. Now, if I were to grade Blake Baker's job this year, it would be a pretty solid B+. It would be. Okay. Now, here's the problem, Ben Tiger. What happened on the 58-yard touchdown pass? No one within 15 yards of the OU receiver. We'll never know. Because this story's happening, we're not going to get the Monday Frank Wilson press conference. And in Frank's defense, he is an offensive coach. He's coaching in the moment. They asked him about it. And he said, I would need to watch the film. And he's right. He doesn't have access to the film. The only guy that can answer that is Blake. He really is the only guy. Okay. But man, now, here's something else I would say. Is our linebacker play has gotten better as the season has moved on. And it did help having number 40 back. I do feel pretty good about number 40 coming back if Lane comes back, if we retain Blake Baker. I feel pretty good about that. Okay. The linebackers love Blake Baker. I also say the players love Blake Baker. They do. Okay. Can't say that about some of the other assistants, but they love Blake. So if they love him and they'll play hard for him, I get down for it. Okay. Yeah, probably so. If there's a transition, yes. Okay. All right, pretty big report here. Let me see. From Brett McMurphy. All right. So, a national reporter has said this. National, okay? And this is basically it. All right, so this is via Brett McMurphy. So what Lane Kiffin basically told Ole Miss and why this meeting would be a little bit longer is he's threatening to poach players before the playoff. And if he can't coach the playoff. All right. So Lane really, really, really wants to coach the playoff. And it makes sense, right? But, from Ole Miss side of things, they're saying, hey, yeah, any competitor will want to coach the playoff. But if you love LSU so much, it's not so much the, hey, you're leaving us. But if you love them so much, why don't you just go on ahead and go? and Lane wants the best of both worlds. So Lane threatening to do this is pretty interesting. Now, this puts the players in a real bind here. Okay. Lane can go. What if Lane goes to Trinidad and says, hey, you get the extra eligibility, I got 1.5 million and BR waiting for you. Okay. So I'll put Brett McMurphy's thing up there. All right. And this is what you fear. This thing getting messy. Okay. Lane Kiffin is essentially demanding to finish the season with Ole Miss while simultaneously threatening to poach. Ole Miss's roster and staff, if he can't, source total on 3 Sports. It's unfortunately gotten even messier than expected as emotions are high. Yeah. Okay. Here's Preston. When I said things are getting messy on the show, this is what I was hearing. And let's just say the poaching would start before the playoff game, too. Yeah. Okay, so what does poaching mean? That means basically taking their players. Oh, man. Yeah, Tiger Life. But what he could do is say, look, he could go to some of the players that I'm sure he's already spoken to and say, hey, it's crazy. You got to sit out. I mean, he's going to be your coach next season. He's essentially your boss. Okay. Now, what are my thoughts on that? Well, I'm going to stand firm on what I've said from the get-go. Okay. It is better for all parties involved for Lane to coach the playoffs. The thing that would worry me is a coach who is looking over the rear view. The best case scenario for LSU is Lane Kiffin coaches in the playoffs at Ole Miss, and he loses in the first round. I do not want a coach who has obviously been emotionally torn to come here and have second thoughts about everything, about what's next for him. All right. You have got to be decisive. I struggle with this. And I know we got a bunch of new viewers in here. I personally struggle with this myself. I could bring my wife in here to tell you this. I have crippling indecisiveness. I really, really, really do. Should I do this or should I do that? Should I cut this video or should I cut this video? Should I go work out or whatever? I wish I was more regimented. I really wish. I wish I was more decisive with every decision. Lane is a very indecisive person, except when he is on the field. And he's pretty decisive. And for me, I don't want him to come into this always thinking that you were the one that left this team high and dry. So from an LSU side of things, yeah, and we would prefer Lane to be a gazillion % focused, getting the roster ready for next year, getting the staff ready for next year. But finishing what you've started is what you want. Any competitor wants to finish what they started. And you hear this word all the time, closure. It's so funny that every single person likes to use relationship metaphors. Braden Fiocco had a really good one. Anwar of Orange Bloods had a really good one a few weeks ago. And it does apply in particular with coaches, right? There's a lot of flirting that goes on. There's a lot of main chicks and side chicks that are involved in every coaching search. There's mids and then there's elites, okay? And Lane is dealing with the pretty good and then Scarlett Johansson. So, it's difficult when you're flirting with other schools and you're trying to figure out closure. If Lane doesn't get this closure of getting to finish out the season, then you worry about his mental state at LSU. You do. But that's the LSU side of things, man. The Ole Miss side of things, I think you are stupid to not let this guy coach your college football playoff team. The guys that are going with them are going with them regardless. You are insane to not let him coach this team next year. Insane. Or in this playoff. Insane. Well, what about him recruiting staffers and people in your building? You are not guaranteed to be in this spot ever again. You are not. You have got to let this man coach the college football playoff. And my hottest take is I think Ole Miss's athletic director wants Lane to be able to do it. It's no inside information or anything. Because this wouldn't have dragged on as long as it's dragged on. And the Ole Miss athletic director, Keith Carter, wouldn't have released the statement he released 7 days ago or 8 days ago on that Friday afternoon, saying we'll reevaluate after the Egg Bowl, and then we'll have a decision after Saturday. And we still don't have a decision, and it's now Sunday. You have got to let him coach if you're Ole Miss. You do. I'm telling you right now, as someone who is an LSU YouTuber, and I'm very fortunate to be an LSU YouTuber, we have won so many national championships. So many. Other schools have not. And they sure as hell have not done it in football. If you're Ole Miss, do you rationally think you are going to be in the spot at least once in the next 3 years, hosting a college football playoff game in a 9-game SEC conference schedule? Do you rationally think you're going to have that opportunity anytime in the near future? You might. You might. But the chances of that are low. They are so low. Seize the damn moment. Let the man coach the college football playoff team. Let him do both. But it's just too much, him recruiting a new roster and all of it. Coaches already got a lot of shit to do. We all agree that the college football calendar sucks. It stinks. No one disagrees with that. Now, I want to talk about something else. And it's been pointed out by Stephen Godfrey, really good reporter of SB Nation, Split Zone Duo. He does a lot of great things. He's very talented. I think he's with Yahoo now. And Stephen Godfrey has said, hey, this entire operation is a CAA operation, which is a creative artist agency. It's a big agency, the Jimmy Sexton agency, where most of College Game Day is represented by CAA, and most of the college football coaches are represented by CAA. This is an elaborate scheme. They have had the whole sport by the balls, and they just have too much power. And to that, you are correct. And as much as I've disagreed with everything, almost everything that Jeff Landry has said, what he said about agents having too much power, in particular with the Brian Kelly regime, it deserves a conversation. And we can have that conversation. But that's where we are right now. The agents control a good bit of all of this. Now, is this all a Jimmy Sexton masterclass and all of that? No, it's not just Sexton that's turned this thing into this. Okay? It's just not. But you get into who's really on the same team here. And to be honest, the higher the level you go, the team that you are on are the teams that make you the most money. All right. Part of my problem and why I've not made a gazillion dollars doing this is that I truly am on my own. I don't have a team. I wish I did. I wish I was with a bigger organization. I'd probably have a bigger audience. It would help having someone else. I'm very lucky that I have a few partners. I'm very lucky I have you. But it's really hard to be by yourself. Really hard in anything in life. Sure, some of you might work a 9 to 5 and you've always wanted to start your own business and all of that. Be lucky with the team that you have. Well, the truth is, a lot of high-level professional athletes, coaches, they have multiple teams, right? They have one team, which is obviously their family and friends, and then they also have their agency team, and then they also have the team that they're employed with, and then they also have, outside assistants and PR teams and all of that. Well, ask yourself if you're an NBA fan, how much of what you watch is controlled by Clutch? A lot. It's just how things work. And we can have that conversation about some of Game Day's messaging and all of that. But my response to that, and I will tell you this, a lot of Ole Miss people have come after ESPN, okay? And they're going to hate ESPN. Here's the truth. Tell me what they have said up to this point that's been wrong. Tell me. Because there's going to be a lot of Ole Miss fans looking to blame someone else other than Lane Kiffin, and it always goes back to the four-letter network. There's nothing wrong that they said about the college football calendar. Nothing. Okay? You also can't have Lane Kiffin coaching Ole Miss in a playoff game at Vaught Hemingway Stadium. Oh, you can't? I just don't get that. I just don't get that. Fans are fans. We're called fans for a reason. And I understand with an LSU shirt and an LSU channel that this comes off on deaf ears. All right? But you were nothing before this man came here. Nothing. Okay? Nothing. Guess what Lane Kiffin is giving you? Millions to host a playoff game. This man did it. He did it. He did. I'm picking his nose right now. He did it. It was him. You are relevant because of him. You are nothing. You are Bo Wallace and a few scrambles from him of relevance. Jeremiah Masoli, great story. Eli Manning, his numbers retired, all-time great. but you were never 11-1. You were never 4 10-win seasons in 5 years. He made this shit work for you. And you're not giving him grace for one playoff game? All right. Now, have there been times I have jeered and cheered against Nick Saban? Yes, plenty of times. But I will tell you, that first game that Nick coached back in Tiger Stadium that we lost in overtime, I was there. I remember I had friends on the team that were recruited by Saban that went over there and hugged him after the game. Okay. So did I hate Nick Saban while he was at Alabama? Sure. All of us did. But he's the one that got the ball rolling. Doug Nose says, okay. Don't try to reason with an Ole Miss fan. No, I want to reason with them. There's fans of other teams that are in here. I've always been hey, you don't have to be an LSU fan to be in here. You just have to be just got to have an open mind. That people are going to say offensive stuff. I mean, someone said something pretty offensive earlier. Okay, I try my best to monitor it. But outside of saying really bad things, you should be allowed to be a fan of whoever you want to be here. Doug says Governor Landry made this happen. When LSU football is winning, it relates to over $120 million in revenue statewide. Landshark says, hotty toddy. You are a bold person. But hey, you have something we don't. You have a playoff game coming up. We have one, but we had the greatest player of all time then. Okay. Once again, we can get into Ole Miss playing a weaker schedule because they did. They have a terrible defense, but they have played the worst teams in the SEC offensively. But Ole Miss lost a better quarterback. Ole Miss lost some key offensive linemen, lost their best receiver, lost their best defensive tackle, lost their best defensive end, their two best defensive ends, lost their best softball linebacker, lost their best safety, lost their best corner. All had in some of those instances, big downgrades. And they're 2 wins better this year. It's crazy. It's crazy to think about. Okay. Okay. Let's go to Pete Thamel's report. The Lane Kiffin saga is finally coming to an end. Sources told ESPN on Saturday that the expectation is LSU will hire Kiffin away from Ole Miss on Sunday. A source cautioned that the deal was not signed as of late Saturday night, but added that it would be a shock if he didn't sign the deal. Should he agree to the contract, it would pay him, a source said, around $12 million annually across 7 seasons, with the potential for bonuses, making him one of the highest paid coaches in the sport. Okay. Sources told ESPN's Marty Smith on Sunday that Kiffin will hold a 10 a.m. Eastern meeting with Ole Miss players, followed by an announcement for his future. After Kiffin said he would decide on Saturday whether he'll coach Ole Miss or LSU in 2026, he met with Rebels athletic director Keith Carter and Chancellor Glenn Boyce for a couple of hours at the Chancellor's home in Oxford. But the day came and went without an announcement. Okay. While Florida and LSU courted Kiffin, Carter and Boyce were adamant that he wouldn't be allowed to coach the Rebels in the CFP if Kiffin took a job with an SEC rival. Kiffin had lobbied the Ole Miss administrators to change their minds, but Carter and Boyce dug their heels in on that issue. Among other reasons, Ole Miss doesn't want Kiffin around its players with the transfer portal opening on January 2nd. The Rebels also don't want their CFB games to be a commercial for LSU's future under Kiffin. Even with Kiffin potentially leaving, the Rebels will probably still be in the mix to host a first-round CFP game at Vaught Hemingway on the 19th or the 20th. There you go. All right, so if you're Ole Miss and you want to host a first-round playoff game, you are cheering for Georgia to beat Alabama. Because Alabama would obviously hop you in terms of hosting a playoff game. Kiffin might be a sociopath. It says Michael. No, it's not official. It won't be official until he signs the contract. Okay. You don't care, and maybe other people agree with you, but you don't get to make that determination. So, Michael, please tell me during any of this that I said that I will make that determination. Or in any of this, I have said that you're allowed to feel however you want to feel. Okay. I'm not telling you how you should feel. What I would say, though, is just for 1 second, swallow your pride and just think about letting this man coach the playoff. Well, it would be an advertisement for LSU if he's winning at Ole Miss. Well, if he actually led Ole Miss on a playoff run and he won it all, if anything, it's making y'all look better and making him look worse. Okay. If he leaves and you lose a first round playoff game and the whole thing goes to smithereens, then it looks like you guys were holding him back. I think Land Shark's agreeing with me here. Okay. Why don't I go on with Blake? Well, I'll say this. I told Blake to go live. I did. I told him he was crazy to not go live right now. and that's splitting our viewership. He's got a bigger viewership than mine, but he's my best friend. I told him he should go live right now. Bottom line, if you're an Ole Miss fan in this chat, why not just sign the contract and try to win a CFP? So yeah, I didn't know if Blake went live, but I told him you're crazy to not go live right now. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, so Lane Shark's agreeing with me. He wants Lane to coach the playoff. I'll tell you this though, if you want to get crazy with the college football playoff discussion, you should have a serious discussion about Oklahoma. Okay. Should they get in based on wins and losses on their resume? Yeah, they should get in. They beat Alabama at their place. Okay, that should count for something. They beat a good Tennessee team at their place at a hostile night environment. But man, Oklahoma's resume got worse today. It got worse today. Not just versus us, but Michigan got blown out. Alabama struggled versus Auburn. Now, once again, rivalry game. Tennessee got blown out. Now, the funny thing, I've already shared that I have a really good relationship with Oklahoma fans. I do not hate Oklahoma. There's not a piece of me that really despises him, especially from an LSU perspective. We've only had good results versus Oklahoma. Did we lose today? Sure. But you're telling me a team that struggled with LSU, that's arguably the worst team in the SEC, this is not a rivalry game for us. It's not. So you can't fall back on that. No offense to speak of. And it took the most ludicrous coverage bust of all time for you to win this game today. Oklahoma has 5 games under 6 yards per play. Our offense has 6. Oklahoma just has a slightly better quarterback than we do. I say slightly, he's way better. But you can get into a serious conversation about Oklahoma's playoff resume. You can. Okay. John Mateer went full D. Hey, what's up, bud? Went full DJ Lagway today. Yeah. God, really, 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 really. I kind of want to stay up all night. All night. Let's go to Emil. You can make an argument that Vanderbilt and Texas are scary threats currently going into the playoff. Scarier threats going into the playoff more than Alabama and Oklahoma. I agree with that. I do. Let's go to Instinct. He says you could make the argument OU has at least the second best defense in the country. No, I mean, you could make the case that they're the best defense in the country. But college football is an offensive game. All right. I'm not saying OU doesn't deserve to be in there. I'm not saying that at all. But one of their losses was a blowout loss to Texas. They weren't really close in that game. It was close at halftime, but they were blown out. And then their other loss was at home to Ole Miss. So their two losses are valid, if you will. Okay. But if you're telling me would I prefer to play Oklahoma or Vanderbilt, I probably would prefer to play Oklahoma. Give me the bad offense all day. Missouri game. Missouri controlled that game early. South Carolina's terrible. They beat them pretty bad. They blew out Temple at Temple. They're terrible. Michigan ended up not being that good, even though their record says they were good. Blew out Kent State. They're the worst team, maybe in the whole sport. Tennessee. They did beat them. So, yeah, I mean, it's not egregious that they're getting in. It's just one of those things where the eye test is the eye test. Now, this is where Jay Tiger wins. Going into the season, Oklahoma had the hardest ranked schedule. Most people thought they had the hardest ranked schedule. So they deserve to get in. Okay. Their schedule was harder than Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt did not have to play Michigan out of conference. They played Virginia Tech out of conference. Okay. Big difference. Big difference. Okay. Now, we've gone an hour 32 in. And the only reason we got to go an hour 32 in is because our partners are flexible with our spots. So we'll be right back right after this. It is the Lane Kiffin special here. Thanks to our friends at Labor Therapy.
Are you missing that sweet swing? If pain is holding your golf game back, you must check out the full simulator at the Lafayette location of Labor Therapy Center. Yes, Chase and his team built this simulator to go along with a full set of programs catered to your needs. Yes, this entire team at Labor Therapy worked hard to fix that back, your elbow, shoulders, wrists, knees, toes. It doesn't matter. At their Lafayette location, 337-981-4053. Call today. But what if you don't golf? And what if you don't live in Lafayette? No problem. They fix anything therapy related. Book today, labortherapy.com, with locations in Aaron Crow, Youngsville, Morgan City, and Crowley. Labortherapy.com. LABORDE therapy.com. Let's go.
PHL Nation, it's time to lock in and get serious really quickly with our friends at Fortified Gulf Coast and FortifiedGulf.com. This is my buddy Ramey. He is one of many Fortified Gulf Coast inspection professionals that are doing something to help you not only save your home, but your memories.
The Fortified program got started about 13 years ago. We adopted it here in New Orleans about 2.5 years ago. It's a more advanced way of doing the roof. It adds an extra layer of protection, whereas even if a hurricane was to pull the shingles off this roof, water will still not get into the house.
So yes, your establishment is important, but what about the things you can't replace? That family scrapbook or that painting that's been handed down from Meemaw to Papaw and to you. It is important to protect that today with Fortified Roofing. And while this seems like a priceless asset, did you know it can actually save you on your homeowner's insurance up to 37% if you are in South Louisiana? Just call the number 504-444-7563. That's 504-444-7563, or visit fortifiedgulf.com. That's FORTIFIEDGULF.com. Let's go. All right, we do have some motion on something. I don't. All right, so Jake Crane says that DJ Durkin will be announced as head coach. Okay. So let me pull this up. Because Summerall was heavily rumored to go to Auburn, and he's from Alabama. Okay. Auburn will hold a team meeting tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central on Sunday morning. The new head coach is expected to be announced to the team at that time. Auburn is working through finalizing the deal now. God. Let's go, man. Let's go. Oh, boy. Summerall staying at Tulane would not be the wildest thing now. I can't get over that Kalen DeBoer decision to go for it. God, dude, you've got to have some freaking, like, think about large fears. I'm not talking softball size. I'm talking Kenny Powers, bowling ball size. Some big Lebowskis to go for it on fourth down, dude. You have got to have them. I'm talking Eddie House NBA celebration level. You've got to have them, dude. You got to carry those things in a wheelbarrow to go for it on fourth down. I literally can't get over that. You guys just don't get it. You've got to have some gonads, dude. You've got to have some gonads. Okay? You've got to have some gonads. Huh? You live in Louisiana, but Ohio State is your team? According to Vasha? Well, you got to tell me why. You can't just be a front runner like that. You can't live in Louisiana and then say, "Hey, that's my team. That's where I'm going." Why are you talking about as you know what size? I mean, who would do such a thing? Why would you talk about somebody's private parts like that? I mean, you are a sick individual, Charlie. Got beat by Oklahoma 2 years in a row. There's no shame in that. Ain't no shame in that, bro. Yusha says he's going to church tomorrow in Louisiana. That would be wild. That would be wild. That would be wild. If I would have told you before the season, you got to pick Vanderbilt going 2-10, or you got to pick them going 10-2, which are you choosing? Be honest. Before the season, are you picking them to go 2-10 or 10-2? Hmm. It's not just Pavia. I don't think it's just Pavia, but their offensive line's not that great. Their tight ends are good, though. Cannot stress enough. If your offensive line is bad, it's not quite as bad if you have good tight ends. The problem with LSU is every tight end group needs their single digit tight ends that are like playmakers, like Trey Green, and you need your number 80 tight ends. Okay. You need those kind of guys too. You need tight ends that are willing to chew tobacco while they play. Okay. Well, Vasha, it looks like you're not gonna get your wish there. Thoughts on Lane's reputation, Unc? Yeah, I think reputation is a little overrated, right? Like, should you apologize when you make mistakes? Yeah, yeah, you should. There are things that we do and things that we say that we should apologize for. We are humans. We all serve a creator. We don't have the answers to everything. Okay. But when it comes to reputation, it is amazing how quickly we move on from things. Life moves on. The world keeps spinning. Okay. So with Lane Kiffin, this decision will have ramifications in how people view him moving forward. Quite a few of them. You know, it's one of those things, though, where you're like, okay, you will be known as a coach that left a playoff team before the playoff began. So another report here from On3. Lane Kiffin intends to coach LSU in 2026. Pete Nakos, Brett McMurphy, and Chris Lowe report. What remains uncertain is whether he'll be allowed to continue coaching Ole Miss in the college football playoff. So there you go. All these national guys are not going to miss, y'all. It's just not going to happen. Get lame out of Oxford. Huh? Oh, man. This guy just won you 11 games, and you're about to make a boatload of money? The city of Oxford? We'll be good without, says PJ Thornton. Are you sure? Okay. Are you sure? Let's go to Emil. Lane's not going to be a 5-year guy at LSU. Odds are he's not going to be. I mean, most coaches don't make it that long, whether it be they perform too well or they don't. How many coaches in the SEC have been longer tenured than Lane? Okay. He came here in 2020, so obviously Kirby and Mark Stoops, and that's about it. It's only 2 other coaches have been at their schools longer. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Y'all want to keep going until 9 in the morning? I mean, I could do it. I've stayed up all night plenty of times. Normally on Saturdays, I'm up until 6 in the morning anyway, cutting film studies. Okay. Damn, dude. God. You want to know why football is a cruel, cruel, cruel game? Is that today Alabama lost a game where, or won a game where Auburn, by far their best player, fumbled the ball. LSU lost a game today when their best unit blew an assignment. Ole Miss lost their coach today while going into the college football playoff. That's the beauty of sports. This is not a Hallmark movie. Okay. Now, this will be a message to all LSU fans. And I understand I have been preaching poetic, or I've been preaching to Ole Miss fans about the benefits of letting Lane coach in the playoff. Okay. Let me be clear about something. We are the single luckiest fan base to ever walk the face of the earth. We are so damn lucky that this is happening for us. And the great soccer analyst named Andy Gray once said, "It is better to be lucky than good." We are so lucky. I mean, we should have hired this guy back in 2021. I have receipts saying that. And there was a super chatter who I texted a few years ago, back in 2022, the first year of Lane Kiffin. I remember sending him this text, and I was like, "This guy's so good. We should have hired Lane over Brian Kelly." And this was after we had some success in 2022. And now this guy is coming back to a rival, the best coach on the market. And this happened. It happened. And what if he is good? You know, the guy he gets compared to all the time is Spurrier. What if he is Spurrier? And we truly are the most blessed fan base. Now, I understand we have been through pain. Okay, we have been through so much pain. And I'm not here to tell you how to feel. Okay. But holy moly, we've been through pain. Notice a lot of the things that have happened at our school are the same things that's happened at Auburn, minus a 2019 national championship. And two other ones. Crazy. And this is the thing, as Nathan points out, my opinion on what Lane was going to do was the same throughout the entire process. I relayed all the information. Well, almost all of the information. I'm going to wait till the dotted line is signed. I relayed all the information while at the same time telling you I'm not Mr. Insider. It's not why I started this channel. Started this channel for LSU analysis, my thoughts, and everybody's thoughts on LSU football. But I went to school at LSU. I've been involved in LSU media for 15 plus years, so I know some people. All of these people were telling me that this was going to happen. Once again, we go back to Cooper Patagna. Our guest said 6 out of 10 confidence, and this was before the Jeff Landry situation. This was before the other Lane stuff. I've also been a little vague with some of the train emoji tweets that I've sent. I've sent out only 2, and it was just a tweet of a train, and every time I sent that, it was when I spoke to someone saying that, hey, we are in the right direction. Okay? But even with that, my gut kept saying, hey, there's no way he's doing this. But he did it, and you should be happy. So I was wrong. I was wrong. I thought he was going to say. I was like, there's just no way. And it could just be that because I am such a big Lane guy, that I was just preparing for if he decided no. Once again, still could happen. We'll see. And once again, it sucks to be a Florida Gator. Mont says, do you remember the Jamie Howard three pick six game in '94? I was a little too young for that, so I won't say any of that. But yeah, it stunk. That stunk. Okay. Don't hate the coach. Hate the game. It is crazy, Lane Shark Bait 90. You're the only Ole Miss fan that's like taking Lane's side in this. I am a little bit shocked that there hasn't been more Ole Miss fans taking Lane's side. I am a little shocked. Not necessarily like saying, hey, he did no wrong, because, well, I think LSU fans, you're a little short-sighted if you say that he did no wrong. But there you go. Let's go to PJ Thornton. He says, I'm on Lane's side too. That's why I say he can go on ahead and go. And Lance Shark says, we can't hold him hostage. But do you agree with him that he should be allowed to coach the playoff team? Okay. Bro is flip-flopping in the chat. Is it me, Rico? I don't think I am. Okay. All right. We got our first recruit tweeting about it. Lamar Brown. Calling Baton Rouge. Let's go. Lock the in, y'all. Oh, do I not have my form? Actually, I do. It's right up here. But it's not my former dog. Boog is always with us. My dog is actually right here. She's knocked out. My new dog. I say new dog. She's been here about 4 years. Okay. I appreciate that, Romeo. Of course, I said I was going to come back earlier. All right, for those that don't know, I cut my post game down. And I'm going to be honest, there's two different things. All right. So I did my shortest post game show I've ever done. One, I was getting a phone call. All right. It was one I really wanted to take. And then, if you actually follow the timelines of some of what Dellenger said, I was getting a phone call around that time. I was also very hungry. I'll be honest. I was getting a little delirious. And I was ready to I was ready to get some food. Okay. Let me see. It's crazy. Duke is 7-5, and they will play in the ACC title game versus Miami. No, versus Virginia. And 10-2 Miami will be at home. Miami is not going to make the playoff. Oh my God, that's nuts. The one thing we can all say, though, for the Ole Miss fans watching this, if we're going to agree on one thing, it sucks to be a Florida Gator. Huh? 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 What do you mean, wake up? No, Ohio State's the best team. I don't think it's clear, though, but they are the best team. Okay. They are the best team. Dinner was like Thanksgiving leftovers. That was it. Jesse wants to talk about potential QBs in the portal. There's a lot of good ones. Sellers. Want to go get Lenore Sellers? Chambliss. Oh, in the county? Vasha, you said in the county? No, Ohio State is the best team. Is it clear, though? Yeah, I don't know, Beezy. I don't know. Ryan Williams is a really good player. Weird injuries this year. So yeah, I don't know. I really, really, really don't know. No. Just trying to see if there's anything else. All right. I do want to touch on something, though, that actually makes me just as excited about Lane. All right. Now, this will always be a football first channel. Okay. Always. It's not women's basketball. We knew they'd be good. But LSU men's basketball is 7-0. And we are now top 25 in the KenPom rankings. Okay, so the analytics guy who adjusts for opponents and all of that, we're top 25 in KenPom. Okay, top 25 KenPom rankings. Whoo! Let's go, dude. Let's go. Boot the F up. Where am I getting my latest news from this hour? Well, most people are getting it from Twitter. Twitter, text, all of that. But at this point, you know, mostly doing the national stuff. Just reading the national guys. Okay. Let's go to TG. Let's go. Let's keep those hundos coming. Huh? I appreciate you, TG01000186. Thank you for your dedication and long hours on watch. The big jet must be getting ready. Post his meeting with the team. I was impressed with the comments he made about his father. That is real. Yeah, so I'll be a little vulnerable. Thank you so much. And send me an email, powerhourlsu@gmail.com. So, look, I know I do a lot of like hard analysis. Like, I will be very critical of a coach, a player. But anytime you're critical of another human being, it's tough for me. Like, I literally don't, like, I don't feel uncomfortable doing it. But sometimes I'm like, man, I should have said it this way, or I should have said it that way. Because I talked to some of these players and I talked to some of their parents, and like, you look at some of the comments that have been made by media, coaches, all of that. We're all caught up in the moment, right? And I think a lot about players' parents. I talk to a lot of players' parents. I speak to one pretty regularly, and I've shared this before. Bill Pyburn is someone that I'm really close with, Jack Pyburn's dad. And I get really excited when, I hear and talk to players' parents, their fathers in particular. And yeah, it was hard to not get emotional, whether you're an Ole Miss or an LSU fan, when Lane was talking about his dad, Monty, who died. Okay, so Monty is a legendary coach, created the Tampa 2 defense, right? And I had just lost my father-in-law. It's coming up on a year, and it's been really hard on my family. Very hard. It's been the hardest thing I've ever dealt with, not having him around. It's been the hardest year of my life this year. And I felt some of that. Now, it's not my dad, who obviously is my best friend. He's the one I talk to more than anyone else. I've gone to 4 different national championship games with him. But I was really close to my father-in-law. And we all can relate if you've lost a dad. Whether it's your real dad or your father-in-law, maybe it's your granddad. But there's nothing quite like the dad. And we've talked about it plenty of times. The super dads of PHL, if you're a dad watching this right now, some of you probably should take your ass to bed so you can make sure you have your son or daughter ready to get up in the morning and go to church, or if you don't believe in a metaphysical being, whatever it may be. So I'm glad you brought that up, not just because it's a big super chat, but TG010806, you deserve it. Now, if you can't send me an email, everybody that sends a $100 donation, I send them an autographed card in the mail, because That lets you know you really appreciate what we're doing. Okay. And how I know this for you because you've I won't get into it, but it's tough, man. It's really tough. Oh, Vasha, don't be coming in here. You are so lucky Justin Fields didn't get belt to ass by Joe Burrow in 2019. You are very, very, very lucky that Austin Deculus didn't put Chase Young in a straitjacket. Okay. I do think Joe Judge will be the interim for Ole Miss, per reports. I will tell you this. If there is one fan base that feels really shitty right now, it's Florida. And it's not because you missed out on a coach. It's just because it sucks to be a Florida mother effing Gator. It just does. You've got to live with that you're a Florida Gator. It sucks to be a Florida Gator. So normally I have to stay on live until the super chat thing runs out. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I just got hit by some pretty hard tired. Also, Joe Burrow played good football this weekend. Y'all see that? God, dude, I may or may not have gotten a little happy. God, dude, this is still nuts to me. Even when I get off of here, I'm not going to be able to stay awake. God, dude. Crazy. How long am I going to be up? As long as you want me to, Lucas. There's 244 sickos in here. You are sickos to still be up. Tell I will work for free for Lane. Also, I got to get my body waxed now, according to Blake Ruffino. That was his fault. That was on him. I don't know. I might back out of that. I might. Can't believe it, y'all. Can I fucking believe it? I kind of want to go back and talk to the Oklahoma fan this week that called me a coon, a coon peach emoji. Thought that was going to offend me. And call me anything. Now I'm kind of in the middle of should I do the 9 a.m. thing. Crazy, dude. Crazy world. Starting now, the battle for the Golden Boot has officially been canceled. I'm a hog. What does that mean? We still got that bitch. Jesse, I don't think it's going to be as yeah, staff is going to be very important for next year, though. It's just getting quarterback right. That's going to be the single most important thing for next year. Let's go to Charlie. This whole thing has gotten ridiculous. All right, Charlie. Welcome to the channel. If you are just now saying that this whole thing is just now getting ridiculous, that is the understatement of the century. Yeah, this whole thing is getting ridiculous. Yeah. That's kind of like saying, yeah, Elizabeth Holmes, she screwed a few people out of her money, out of their money. Like, really? Like, that is insane. Yeah, could you imagine just coming into this stream and just saying, yeah, you know what? Things are starting to get a little wild right now. Like tonight, it's starting to get wild. Crazy. Crazy. All right. If I could say something else really quickly. Shout out to Xavier Thomas. All right. Shout out to Xavier Thomas. Had another amazing game today. And this was supposed to be the Chris Hilton season. This was supposed to be the two new transfers coming in, their season. This was supposed to be Aaron Anderson's season. And obviously, injuries are mixed in there. But this was Xavier Thomas' season. Okay. And he was our best player from start to finish. Drops, did he have some? Yeah. Not as many as the other receivers. There were times where he was our best running back. There were times where he was our best quarterback. There were times he was our best red zone option. There was times when he was our best deep receiver. There was times when he was our best receiver over the middle. There was times when he was our best gadget guy. There was times when he was our best Y receiver. There was times when he was our best X receiver. There were times when he was our best Z receiver. There were times when he was our best punt returner. There were times when he was the best at getting guys lined up. There were times when he was the best at being a substitute. There were times when he was the best team player. There were times where Xavier Thomas sold popcorn at the gate the best. There were times when Xavier Thomas tied his shoes the best. There were times this season where Xavier Thomas donated time to community enrichment. There were times when Xavier Thomas said, look, all you mother effers are good players, but I'm going to be that guy. There are times when Xavier Thomas said, look, you didn't take me at first at LSU. You passed over me once in the transfer portal. You came back and got me the second time. And all I did was be a team player while you brought in more receivers from the transfer portal just for me to remain loyal and end up being the best receiver on the team in my final season at LSU. All those times happened with Xavier Thomas this year. All those times. All those things happen. And all he did was feed generations. That's it. That's all he did. It's a parade inside my city, yeah. Oh, Xavion. What a dude. I'd love to have him back. It should be a crime that bad college football players, or not as good college football players, get fifth in 6 years of eligibility, but we got guys in our team that only get 4 for playing 4. So we're penalizing the players that are good enough to play as true freshmen. It's crazy that Aiden Anding is losing eligibility for being on punt team. Right? He was better than all the other true freshmen to be a role player, but he loses his eligibility for punt team? Come on, go Tigers. No, you got to get on my level. Get on my level. LSU fans, could you imagine being someone that lives in Trinidad and you have nothing about college football? You know nothing about college football. You download Twitter, and then you see that there's a bunch of people from Mississippi posting the Trinidad flag, and then next year there's going to be a bunch of people posting the Trinidad and Tobago flag from Louisiana. You're going to be confused as hell. What the hell is going on? Okay. Y'all want to get crazy? I can get my DJ stuff out, and I could do a set. if y'all want me to. Y'all want to play EDM or hip hop? I mean, honestly, I want to play Boosie and Young Boy. I'll play that. I want to see Moscona debate Rufino over what? I never understand that. Right? Like, put a smile on. Well, I'm happy. I want to play Nick. Let's go. I want to play some Blink 182. Let's don't wait. This one's almost over. Okay. Good stuff. Governor Landry. Everyone involved in this. Good stuff. I think Auburn's hiring Durkin tomorrow. I do. I don't even know they have beef now. I really don't. When I talk, and I talk to Blake often a lot. We're go on a show once a week. Um, are we waiting on news? No, I don't think we're waiting on news. I really don't think anything else is going to break till tomorrow. The big news is already kind of out there. Nothing is going to be public until he meets with the team tomorrow. So I don't think I could go. I was talking myself into doing the 9 a.m. thing, but then it's all the extra content you have to do after 9 a.m. And I kind of forgot that I have to do a few other film studies for the SEC channel, but it doesn't look like those are going to get done. But normally on Saturdays, I'm up until 6 a.m. cutting film studies. Normally. Okay. Julian saying? Oh, I thought you were saying that was the guy that we needed to go get out of the portal. That wouldn't actually be the quarterback. I mean, I don't think you guys want another pocket QB. I'm pretty confident you don't want another one. Bob Chesney to UCLA, the JMU coach, potentially. Interesting. Crazy. Wait, I thought you were a Kenny Chesney fan. I really were. I thought you were. That's why you always made the joke. I might know like 5 Kenny Chesney songs off the top of my head. Yeah, it is one way for Ole Miss to get us back. If Ole Miss really wants to get us back, I know a man who needs a job. Okay. Hire Brian Kelly. You think Brian Kelly's motivated? He's motivated, all right. Brian Kelly fits in Oxford too. Hire his ass. That is the right fit for your program. Okay. And ultimately, we just made a trade. You guys get Sage Ryan and Deshaun Womack, and we get your coach. I mean, that's what's fair is fair. I mean, I don't make the rules. Who's my Heisman? Pavia. Pavia. They put up 9 yards per play on the road in a rivalry game. Mm. Mm. Drew Mestamaker of North Texas. Dylan Rayola. Am I just going to sit here and not respond? Is this Peter? Now I'm just reading anything just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Knowing you're live for nearly 3 hours. I want to provide the best reporting I possibly can provide you guys. Okay? That's all I want to do. That's it. I just want to be the best for you, whoever you are. All right, y'all. That's going to do it for me. Why do you want to see me shake my ass so bad? Actually, there are videos of me dancing in Tiger Stadium that some people have posted on Twitter. I'll show one. This was actually an older one of me dancing in the PMAC. Let me see. There we go. You got to subscribe and join memberships. Surprisingly, we didn't get any new members tonight. There you go. Boom. Can't beat that, man. Chris Brown ain't got nothing on me. I'm the real CB, boy. Look at that. Can't beat that. You cannot beat that. Look at that. Don't Don't come at me with the dance moves. Is Lane going to blow out Dabo next year? Sure. Actually, it was Hal who gave me those 2 tickets. That was a long time ago. Face was a little thicker then. Okay. We do private chats in the Discord. So hop on, man. Join the Patreon. Link down below. Build him a golf course. Brian Kelly. All right, y'all. That'll do it for me. Once again, big thanks to all our super chatters. TG, Yusha, Doug, Jared, Van, TG again, TJ, Doug, Golf, and all our Venmos. Okay. S Fall. Thank you guys so much. What a day, dude. Let's go to J. Cole. Now you look a little different now. Percentage-wise, what would you say is that Lane is coming to LSU? 95%. Would I rather have the LSU job or the Bama job? Ohio State's the best job, but that one's close. I would probably say LSU. I don't think I can ever just publicly say Bama. But we'll see. Okay. Joey Swampwater is what I think I'm going to go with. But yeah, no, I'm not. I thought I could. I'm not going to do it. All right, y'all. Thank you guys so much. Looks like we got ourselves a new tackle football coach. It is Power Hour LSU. Boom. Tonight we are doing lemon pepper chicken wings. Let's go.